Hello family, I'm Carlos Aspinall from the Great Commission Church. Today, we want to share with you a summary of our Sunday teaching, presented as a reflection by our visual commentators and drawn from our sermon notes.
Welcome everyone. Today we want to reflect on and go deeper into the powerful message that Pastor Carlos Aspinall from our congregation, the Great Commission Church in Hanover Park, Illinois, shared this past Sunday, inspired by the Word of God.
That's right. It was a much-needed message titled, "To Live or Die for Christ." And it began with a very thought-provoking reflection about the world we live in, where confessing Christ with courage is not always easy. Being a Christian means swimming against the current of a society that often ridicules faith, twists values, and pursues what is unholy, calling good evil and evil good.
He starts with shocking news: the recent murder of conservative Christian activist CHARLIE KIRK.
That's quite a strong way to begin. He frames it as a modern example of martyrdom to speak about Christian persecution, something very common for the early believers.
Exactly. The pastor presents it as a wake-up call. He argues that society is becoming increasingly hostile toward Christian values, and this event illustrates how far that hostility can go. From there, the text is grounded in Paul's second letter to Timothy.
Of course, the passage in 2 Timothy 4:6-8, where Paul says, "I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith." It's a classic text about perseverance until the end. Pastor Aspinall connects Paul's testimony with this modern martyrdom of Kirk.
Exactly. And from that connection, the teaching develops into 4 main points about what it means to be willing to live or die for Christ.
In today's context.
All right, let's break them down. What's the first one?
The first point is the call to be witnesses unto death. Here he explains that the Greek word for witness is martys, from which we get martyr. The idea is that every Christian is called to bear witness, no matter the consequences. The practical application he suggests is to start small, not hiding your faith at work or with your family.
That makes sense. Not everyone will face death, but many will face rejection or mockery. Faithfulness in everyday life prepares you for greater trials. And the second point.
The second is the battle for truth. This point is interesting because he frames it as a spiritual struggle, not just cultural or political. He cites Ephesians 6:10 about the armor of God and argues that ideologies such as radical progressivism, gender ideology, or abortion are at their core spiritual tools of the enemy to distort the truth.
I see. The idea is that the real battle isn't against people, but against the spiritual forces behind those ideas. That's why the solution he proposes is to stand firm in the truth of the gospel, putting on the armor of God.
Correct. The third point is the price of faithfulness, based on Jesus' words about taking up the cross and denying oneself. The sermon explains it as a daily renunciation of pride, selfishness, and social pressure to be accepted. In daily life, the price of faithfulness shows up in small sacrifices. For example, a worker who refuses to lie on a report to keep his integrity, even if it costs him a promotion, that's an act of taking up the cross.
It's a call to die to self every day, not necessarily to physical martyrdom. And the last point, I'm guessing, has to do with hope.
Exactly. The fourth point is the hope of resurrection and the eternal crown. Here the focus is that Christians don't fear death because victory has already been won by Christ. Any sacrifice in this life, no matter how great, has an eternal reward. He uses the analogy of an athlete who trains hard with his eyes fixed on the prize.
Good. So to sum it up, the message uses a dramatic event, what happened to CHARLIE KIRK, to talk about a very real theme: the cost of the Christian faith. He breaks it down into 4 parts: being a witness, fighting for truth on the spiritual level, paying the price of faithfulness, and holding on to the hope of eternal reward.
That's the essence. The conclusion reinforces that faithfulness comes with a price, and that the testimony of those who remain firm, like Paul or the figure of Kirk in the sermon, leaves behind a legacy that inspires others. It's called to courage and conviction in times Pastor Aspinall considers hostile.
A message without a doubt challenging and direct, seeking to shake the believer out of comfort and prepare them for what the pastor sees as a growing cultural and spiritual opposition.
Definitely. If this message has blessed you, we encourage you to watch the full sermon by visiting our website, www.conglc.org/sermons.
You can also find it on our YouTube channel at La Grande Commission LGC. Don't miss it. Until next time.